Hey guys, how you doing? I want to explain you a very simple and fast way on how to onboard your customer. By that I mean, so every time you have an opportunity in the CRM, which is triggered to on, so you have the drop down and you will be able to select the opportunity, and that's how we have it at Link Lemon, and that's how a standard CRM works. Then that will trigger a webhook and this will trigger a workflow. So first of all, let me explain you why it is so important to have this in place. So first, when you create contracts or when you create invoices and when you send payment links through Stripe, first you want to happen everything automatically because there's less margin of error and you don't want to waste a lot of time basically doing the contracts and sending invoices and all that, because that can take we've measured it within our agency, and that can take at least like 2 to 4 hours per customer, because everyone has different things, and yeah, when you have all that data in the CRM, then you can pull it through this workflow that I'm gonna share right now, and everything will flow automatically. So that's the first reason. But as well, it's really important that your customer has a feeling that you're professional and that everything's happening fast and automatically, because otherwise that's the very key moment when a customer will pay, and if they see that they are not professional, they can start to doubt and they can still churn away, right? So let's get into the workflow and I will explain really quick. So like I said, whenever the trigger is opportunity one, it triggers the workflow, and we do this with a webhook. And this send basically a record ID from our Airtable, because in Airtable is where we have set up our custom CRM. And we do this, and then we set a variable here just to have a date, and that's taking basically today's date, and we are using that for the documents, the payment link, and everything which is coming afterwards. So the system will decide whether it's a first payment or a second payment. This is how we do it at Link Lemon. We have depending on the amount, we do 30% or 50% upfront, and then when we have delivered and finished the project, we will do a second payment. So this we have categorized within our CRM, and it will take a route depending on the payment. So let's take first the first scenario. So when we have the first payment, what we are doing here, we are using a Google Doc template, and we are automatically filling up a contract, a standard contract that we use at Link Lemon, with all the details, with the date, with all the conditions and everything which is applied, and is referenced to automatically to the proposal that we just sent, where some other conditions are stated there. And we are just creating the document, we store it, and then we search where this document is stored, and we send it to a PDF. Then we see if we have already that customer in Stripe. If we don't have the customer, we follow this flow. If we have the customer, we follow this flow here. So let's say we don't have the customer, then we need to check whether we have already a folder in Google Drive. If there is no folder, we create one. If there is a folder, we can automatically create the customer in Stripe, because remember, there's no customer. So we create the customer, we create the invoice, we create an invoice item, we create a draft invoice, and then we make an API call to finalize the invoice and send the payment link. Then we upload the file to the folder that we have from the customer, because remember, we have a folder for this customer, and then we share the link. We also share the link through Gmail with the payment link, with the quantity, amounts, all that. And then we update the information in the CRM, which is really important, because then we can trace to who we have sent the link, the payment link, how much time it has passed since we sent the payment link. And that's really important, because afterwards we can send automatic notifications after 7, 15, 20, 30 days, whatever you decide that it's standard in your agency. So this will be for there's a folder, and for example, if there's no folder, it's exactly the same process, but we just create the folder at the beginning. Then we can have the condition that the customer exists, and then automatically we just create the invoice because we are able to find the customer in Stripe, and we follow the same route as before, depending on the folder, or there is not a folder. But we just skip the process of creating a customer because we don't need it. So this whole flow will be for the first payment. But what happens? Let's say we have identified now that we want to sign a second payment. Obviously, if it's a second payment, we don't want to create a contract because we already created in the first payment and we're just finishing the project. And as well, we don't want to create folders or anything like that, because we've already done that for the customer. So if you did that, that will be actually very confusing for the customer. So we have a way of identifying that actually this is the second payment because we have that identified within our CRM. Then we search the customer and we do exactly the same thing. We check whether the customer exists or the customer does not exist. Sometimes that can happen, but it's very rare. But just in case, we do it. And then it's just following the same path as we have seen up. With the only difference is we just sent an email, but this email is more like, thanks a lot, we really enjoyed working for you guys, here is the final payment, and if there's like any doubts whatsoever, just contact me. And then we update the record because like before, then we can trace everything. So have this customer paid, have this customer not paid, how many days has passed since we sent the payment link. It was more than 10, then we will do automatic notifications, but that's happening with the CRM. And this is how you do more or less, depending on your case. So this is really for Link Lemon, but it can vary a lot depending on the kind of service you provide. But this, you can have a very good idea of how you could do one for yourself. And yeah, I guess you imagine why it's really so important to have something like that, because then your customer can really feel your agency is professional, your agency is doing things right, your agency is making things happening on the background. What I didn't say, so when the opportunity is won, it triggers a workflow, but before triggering the workflow, it sends the customer a form, because there the customer will just fill in the invoicing details, email, a little bit where all that is happening. And once you have that, then this will be triggered. That's really important. But if you already have that info and the customer doesn't need to fill out the form, this will be triggered automatically because you already worked with that customer in the past. So there's no need for you to send the form again to the customer. This will be like the initial one. And then we have another one that I can show in a later video of what happens when the customer pays. And there we will create other folders like a working space, a full document where the customer can fill up the access request, the tools that we're going to work with, and all that. So I really hope you have enjoyed the video, and yeah, let me know what you think and how you could apply this in your agency.